Hi there, this is Jeanette for Whimsy Stamps, and today's video features a card which is clean and simple. It's made with the new Whimsy lemonade stamp that comes with this image and the sentiment, and it is from their May 2016 release. I stamped the image on some Neenah cardstock with Memento Tuxedo black ink, and now I am just coloring up this lemon, and I used a ton of yellows just because I was trying to get the exact sort of shade of the lemon, and I had to work a little bit with the colors that I had until I got the shading and the color that I wanted. So you can see that I'm concentrating the darker markers towards the edges or the two ends of the lemon, and I am then just blending out the color with the lighter markers until it's really nicely blended, and I left the center part the lightest. Here I'm just using a tip to tip method, so I'm just taking some of that darker color onto my light marker tip, and that sort of does the blending for you. It creates a sort of middle color in between those two colors, and that's a method I like to do a lot if I'm having a little bit of trouble blending and getting everything nicely sort of diffuse. I will use that method. I'm going to do the hat and the legs of the lemon. Just use some gray there to do that. Here I had to sort of take a second or two to make sure that I knew what was the hand and what was the handle for her first aid kit. So if you're coloring this image, just pay a little bit of attention there. I used some shades of red here for the cross on her hat as well as her lunch pail. And on the cross I did start with my darker color and then blend out with my lighter, just because it was such a small area to color and I didn't want that color to bleed. My red markers always bleed if I'm not careful, so if you're coloring a small area, sort of be mindful of that. I wanted to do these cute letters in a sort of ombre look, so I kept the darker shading towards the bottom of the letters, and then as you move upwards it gets lighter and lighter, and I just use those same colors or those same marker colors that I used for the lemon, I used for the sentiment. Now for the band-aid, I decided it would be really cute if I sort of colored it the same color as a band-aid, so I pulled out some markers, and you're going to see those listed in a minute, and that's what I used to color the band-aid. I think it would also be fun, and I only thought of this later, if you sort of glued a band-aid at the bottom of the card, or just sort of attached it with some glue dots. That would be kind of cute as well. I wish I had thought of that while I was making the card. For the syringe, I'm just adding a little bit of blue, and then I decided to just put the bottom here where the lemon is standing. I decided to color that blue as well. Now I'm just trying to figure out which frame I want to use. I felt that that was a little too small, so I went with this sort of larger scalloped one. I'm just going to cut it out using my Big Shot. I put a little bit of post-it tape there to make sure that the die stayed put in the right place so that everything was nice and straight. For the background, I am using a Prismacolor pencil. I'm just coloring right around the edge of the image here, and I'm putting down a fair amount of pencil. And then I will use a large blending stump and some Gamsol, and I will just blend that all out. So I blend where it's colored at first, blend it out, and then I slowly sort of blend outwards so that you get a really nice light shading that fades to white. So just take your time and go right around the image. You can see that the image is a little bit wet, so it looks almost gray at the edges, but that will dry, that will evaporate, and then it will be pure white. So almost done. This is one of my favorite ways to quickly add a cute little background. I decided to add some dark gray here at the bottom. It was too light and the image wasn't grounded, so put a little bit of gray there, and then add a little bit more shading on the hat and on the first aid kit. I darken up the eyes with this black pen and add some white dots for detail with my Sharpie. You can see that I have my image on a card base. This is just a red A2 sized card base, and I'm going to use some glossy accents. I'm just showing you that I had removed the top of my glossy accents and added this applicator tip, and this is working great. It keeps my bottle from clogging, so it's a really nice sort of item to have in your crafting stash. And my card is done. I hope you enjoyed this short video featuring Whimsy's lemonade. Thanks for watching.